Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4.
It's going to be 4 now.
And let me look at the scribble on my hand. Yes, 4. Welcome to episode 4 of Libracadeum Lounge. We still haven't gone through the whole list of the whole PO box of invites. So today our guest is Squilliam, otherwise known as William as well. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. William?
Hi, my name is William, but I preferably go by Squilliam, or Cursed Squil as my Steam ID goes.
So, Squilliam, how do we know each other? What is the lore of our friendship, Squilliam?
Our lore goes back to when I moved to Indianapolis from Oklahoma. After my dad retired out of the Marine Corps, I moved to go see my sister and my mother. And new school, who dis kind of mentality. I found a lone nerd at the morning table, and I just sat there and pestered him until we became friends.
Yeah, we did a lot of things. Like, we watched Fooly Cooley in the school breaks, and that's basically just what we did. And then we talked a lot online, and then we played, like, TF2 together.
Oh, so man, we played a lot of TF2.
It was, like, me, Squilliam, and Philip that were around playing a shit ton of TF2.
Those are the days.
And now we don't get to play as much TF2 because it's not exactly held up that much, but...
Well, it's trying.
One day. Yeah. So... I welcome you, Mr. Television Man, onto my lovely podcast that is also run under sticks and glue. But today we get to run through the gimmick several 5 questions.
All right.
And who wants to throw their share in the pot first?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Since I seem to be the one who came up with questions.
I've got questions. I've got some questions. I could start if you want me to start.
You know what? Fine, you start.
Okay, so Squil, why cursed Squil? Where has it begun?
For a while, I thought it was a funny joke because throughout anything I do, usually something bad happens like around the corner. So I always say that I'm cursed. So I just thought it'd be funny to always call myself Cursed Squil, and just became a stigma for it. So I kind of just kept it.
You don't have to shoot yourself like that, boo. It's okay.
No, it's fine.
Out of curiosity, are you cursed?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
So, there's like spirits that follow you home and stuff?
Well, not that kind of cursing. No, I am a lucid dreamer, but that doesn't affect the cursing.
Do people yell slurs and words at you?
No, like this is cursed. Like instead of chickens crossing the road, they like fucking fly into the middle of the road and look at you, then fly away.
Do you remember Kuhl Theory?
Theory.
It's basically that Kuhl Theory, but on drugs.
Which was
also, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. So Squilliam likes to open a cold one every time in the Libracadeum, so it's a sign of refuge. Kind of like when Vikings bring out the beer and meat, it's time for relaxation and partying.
Well, contrary to belief, Vikings didn't drink beer. They would drink whatever's in their stockholds, and during winter they would drink mead to stay warm.
How do you know of this Viking lore?
I do a lot of reading online.
He was a Viking.
Yeah, I was a Viking in the past life. And then I became a monitor and gained sentience.
Yeah, he's also my computer. Squilliam is the one that actually runs everything down there. He's my tower.
Yeah, I'm currently full of dust and dying, but it's fine.
So every time I have to render something or my computer's frozen, we always say, Squilliam, you're dying!
Funny jokes.
Funny joke.
Funny joke.
Funny joke. My name is Squilliam. I am your computer. Feed me RAM.
Download more RAM now.
Yeah, go to downloadmoreram.com. It's definitely not a scam.
Go to download. Check out our sponsor. Today's sponsor is downloadmoreram.com. I've had one friend that actually fell for downloadmoreram.com, and it makes me sad.
Wow.
And the worst part is he was actually the tech geek at our school.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I wonder if he did it as a joke and then accidentally went through it.
I remember one time there was a streamer and he had like a ton of viewers, like somewhere like 10,000 or something, and he was legitimately like giving somebody advice, like, oh yeah, you need to press Alt F4 to follow me or something like that, and he lost 1,000 viewers.
That's like something I would do.
He lost his crap, dude. It was so funny.
You look right into the statistics, and you're like, "Oh, there we go."
He did. He's like, "Yes, it works."
Those are the numbers I want to see.
Yeah, those are the numbers.
That is the internet equivalent of what's the word? Purging. You don't need to kill people. You just need to trick them into like walking into a cage.
I think at that point it's Darwinism.
Or outside. That's what I mean. Natural selection.
Yeah, that's some pretty dark shit right there.
Yeah, but you don't need to kill them just to get them off your goddamn stream. Just filter them out, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Like I said, taking off all the non-believers.
I'm going to have a club where you have to solve a Rubik's Cube to get in the door. That'll show
I will never be able
to get in.
I will never be able to get in.
You guys will have to learn. You want to be friends with me? You want to be cool? You want to live? You'll just have to learn.
You'll have to do a long jump in Mario Galaxy.
I'm not learning now. I'm peeling the stickers off.
That's a solution.
Yeah, fuck it.
You like put the last sticker on the door, ominously opens, and you're like, okay.
It sends you into another realm.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Because you did
Welcome
it wrong.
to the Puzzle Master room. I imagine you open the door, you enter it, and the room itself, you're inside a huge Rubik's Cube, so there's like 9... How many rooms are there?
27.
27 different like square rooms that keep shifting, so every time you go in a different door, it's a different room.
There's this, the dungeon at the end of Skyward Sword is like a slide puzzle. So like every room is in this like 3x3 grid, and there's one space where there's no room. And so there's like 4 rooms in the dungeon where you have to like slide the rooms around in order to like get to the end. It's pretty sick.
They did that shit on WiiWare console.
They did. Wii Motion Plus, baby.
I don't think the Wii Motion Plus specifically was credited to that type of invention, but
Doesn't matter. It was there. Patent pending.
That is, there it is. Featuring the can.
Squilliam, would you like to ask a question? We love it when our guests ask questions.
So, to get completely off topic and probably controversial.
Yes.
So, William has stated to me before his ideals and views on politics.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
No, not this
round. Yes.
And
I'm
politics is a thing, how you ruin friendships, and that seems like a fun thing to not do. But
yes.
How do you think these primaries are going to hold out since the coronavirus has stopped all voting for this month? Is that going to do a twist in the polls? Or do you see the Republicans getting an upper hand in this situation?
Do you want to go first, Phil, or do you want me to go first? I know exactly what I could say.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think from a lot of seeing what each news anchor what type of their agendas are, I think the general news public is pushing for Joe Biden right now, because I don't really see that much compared to what Bernie Sanders is putting out. So I think in general it's pushing for a more Republican state because first off, I don't think much people want to actually go outside right now.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, I think whatever the perception of the public would just be from the news, because the coronavirus, people are fearing the coronavirus, and that fear is being constantly cycled from the news.
Yeah.
And let's see. B, Joe Biden is the one that's being publicly like plugged all the time through the news.
Yeah.
So that's what I see just from media specifically flooding and influencing. So on that hand, I think Biden's being pushed a lot. But from the same news hand, I remember specifically talking with my friends and family, and their perceptions are saying that media is making the president right now look bad. And I agree with them, just from like the sense of like we need more testing kits, we need people to be treated and such. But the president right now isn't exactly at a high. If I could like put like a rankings of who would probably be in presidency, I don't like it, but I think it would be like Joe Biden, then Trump, and then like Bernie in terms of like the probability. I don't like it just because I like Bernie's ideals more.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also holes that I'm also trying to fix and feel and see what's going on. But that's what I feel like is going on right now. And I feel like Bernie would probably be a little bad just because, like, hey, no one really wants to go outside during the primaries, and we can't really just push it off.
Yeah.
So a lot of influence from younger people and older people, and a lot of people just in general, will be pushed away from voting. Luckily, we are due for May 3rd here in Indiana, or May 5th, one of them. So that means we're gonna have some problems going outside and voting. I don't know about
the voting
the
voting will probably be postponed, I would imagine, like everything else.
If it isn't postponed, it would really suck, because I really want to vote for who I want to vote for, and if I'm not allowed, if I can't go outside to vote because of my condition, then that would really suck, and I would feel terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, that I've rambled. Philip, what do you think?
Well, I think the coronavirus is interesting because general consensus seems to be that it has, and because it basically has, stopped or stilled or postponed voting, right? But
Correct.
really, I feel like the coronavirus is just another entity that's sort of interacting with the elections and with the primaries, caucuses, because people are using this epidemic as a means to push their political agendas. So
you're thinking it's going to be more of a push back, a push forward?
Yeah, I think whoever comes out on, like, different politicians have been suggesting different ideas for how to overcome it. And I really think that whoever gains the upper hand after the virus will be whoever comes out on top after it for the virus. Like, I think that this is an opportunity for, if a Democratic candidate was behind, or a Republican candidate was behind, or if one of them was ahead and they wanted to, even the race, or
push the race further towards their way.
Basically create a greater lead, then this is their chance. So I think it's actually kind of interesting, and I think it is definitely going to affect the election. I just don't know how. It's kind of going to be a long-term thing, and we're probably going to see just, who comes out on top and what ends up happening. That will determine how things are affected, I think.
All right. That's a good point on it that I have not come to realize myself. So thank you for that.
For sure.
Hit us with that knowledge. What is your perspective?
Yes, William, surely you have something to add.
Oh, my whole thing was, I feel like in the presidency seat right now, because of all the backlash he's getting, and at this time, it is a very difficult time to get a handle on the situation because how fast the situation became. I feel like every politician right now is in a major hot seat because the public is looking at them with red eyes, trying to, let's solve the situation now, instead of, the goal of stopping this coronavirus or whatever's going to happen next, where Red Eye's blaming everything on the current president instead of looking for a solution. And I feel like the primaries and all the voting to come for elected offices is just going to be on hold for a very long time. And we're just going to be in a state of panic for a while.
God, I hope not.
Oh God, I hope not too.
The state of panic is just so annoying, and it's so much. There's so much fear mongering, and the whole political agenda pushing that I talked about. It could, admittedly, end up positively, because we could end up having somebody elected that really deserves to be elected, that wouldn't have otherwise been because of how they handled the situation. But it could also just result in a lot of stuff being shoved down people's throats, which I feel like is what's happening right now. And so I just hope that it kind of turns into something more positive and constructive. Like you said, I hope that they work towards solving the problem more than instilling fear in people and saying, hey, also, can you vote for me?
Yeah. Like, instead of sitting on the sidelines going, hey, everything sucks right now, but hey, vote for me. Like, let's start with solutions.
I feel like there's a problem though, because I think everyone has pushed their own agenda through this whole virus. Like everyone. I get emails from like dating apps like, here's how the COVID situation affects your dating experience. And stuff like that, like things that are completely unnecessary telling me about the COVID-19 situation.
Speaking of that, did anyone buy stock in like the toilet paper companies before this? Because I bet they're making fucking bank.
That's what I thought. But I mean, at the same time, why wouldn't you make bank on toilet paper? When are we ever going to like lose stock in toilet paper? Everybody needs to wipe their ass.
I mean, whenever we, let's see, I guess whenever we invest in toilets that squirt water up our butts.
Yeah, that hasn't happened. We're not Japan.
What are those called? They actually have a name.
I don't know. I just know them by what
discomfort.
They do.
It's actually not discomforting. There's a lot in hotels in Japan.
Yeah.
It's awkward and it's cold, but you know.
It's like you're getting a shower on your butt.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I mean, it could be potentially more clean too, just because you're cleaning it with actual water and not just wiping your ass. It's just.
I mean, at that point, you could claim that it would be, much cleaner to squirt water up your nose rather than wipe it to get like boogers out and stuff, which is true, but that really irritates your nose.
Yeah. So this is we're going into territory how you wipe. I wipe and then I use a baby wipe.
Are we seriously doing the how do you wipe your ass question?
Well, we're talking about how do you get clean without using the butt squirter, and I just wipe and then baby wipe. You can't flush baby wipes down the toilet, but you can throw them away.
That's true. Do you really want crap in your trash can, though?
I mean, that's why most people have a separate trash can in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean,
still, though, I just don't like, going to the bathroom and just thinking to myself, there's poop in my trash can. Like, that's just kind of gross.
I mean, that's what the first wave is for. The second wave is just to clean up your butt. It's just stinky. You gotta clean up that moisture.
But you guys have any other topics you want to talk about or questions?
I do. I have a few. So recently, recently, I don't know how recently, like this year, but you've been taking on the dad aesthetics, and I would like to know what inspired you to do so.
Okay, so like the funny thing is, so I was primarily raised south. I was born in Arizona, Tucson to be exact, and it's not really what you would consider south, it's western. And then I lived in the Bible Belt for many years. So like my aesthetics have always been those peers around me, especially like, your parents and who you've been around.
Mm-hmm. And
so out there, it is quite literally, boots, jeans, and flannels. So I always wore button up, which is the thing I felt comfortable with. And then I full on embraced like the whole dad look out of a meme just to do it. And I saw myself in the mirror, and I kind of laughed because I'm like, I genuine like this look. This look makes me feel like me. So, I got the, big rimmed glasses, the weird haircuts, like the boomer style of what you would call it.
He's got the beard.
And I got the dad beard going. And plus, I work in construction, so we all, have that construction guy look. So I guess you could say we all look like middle-aged dads.
Yeah, and he builds houses, too.
So I just went with the aesthetic. I like it a lot.
It's really funny because it goes past just like the look too. It's just like in terms of nature. Like this boy knows like wood crafting.
Yeah,
this boy knows electrician work.
So my step grandfather, my parents are divorced, so how that works out, usually people know what that means. All of my grandfathers, even my step grandfathers, were hands-on people. On my mom's side, my grandfather was a pharmaceutical scientist. He mainly worked in major factories producing different types of drugs. And then my grandpa on my dad's side was the head of the Boilermakers Union in Illinois for a very long time. And he got the nickname Superman during the Depression time. Because
why?
He got out of 8th grade he was illiterate. I mean, that's what you would call it. But he was a functioning illiterate. He went to the naval yards and he goes, I want a job. Well, they weren't hiring, but it's still World War II times and stuff. And they didn't have time to go, well, here's a welder. Here's some pipe. We'll come back to see if you can work. So he, from that, had to learn how to weld a pipe together correctly right then and there by himself. And he did. And that's his mentality. He's like, he always goes, go out and do stuff. Do it. And then my step grandfather was a carpenter. And he always had a big workshop on 250 acres. And that's all he does. He just works on wood. So I always felt like a connection with that. Always working with my hands and with wood or welding things together or even doing sciencey stuff.
Do you think that type of thing is genetic or like learnt?
It's very much learnt, but you want to learn it. It's kind of like you have to have that want, because if you don't want to learn it, you're not going to learn that whole trade. Because there's a whole lot that goes into it. You got to know some math. You got to know how stuff works in the real life. You got to know how to implement blueprints to real life scenarios. And to me, it's just fun. It's frustrating, but you're putting this house together. You want to punch in a wall because the guy who did the plumbing accidentally cut a hole into your light socket. Now you gotta redo the whole wiring in the house. But
or you don't have enough trim and you have to like get more or fit the blocks together and pray to God.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, but once it's all done, you step back, you take a sigh of relief, and you look at the work you done, and you go, somebody's gonna live in this, and somebody's gonna be like, oh, this is my dream home. I built that for them.
Oh, that's really good. I like that.
For sure.
It gives you a sense of pride when I work with my hands. Because I'm not a very knowledgeable person. I'm a very average in school. Like, I'm not school smart at all. Book smart, or whatever you want to call it. But what I am knowledgeable about is just stuff I can do with my hands. Because I can show more than what I can teach.
Plus, there's like the satisfaction of the completed product.
And also the smell of cut wood is also very, very good.
Sawdust.
It's like, yeah, it's smoking that dust.
Some of that dust, boy. I will say the satisfaction of completing a project is very nice. Plus the feeling of I'm a human being and I've done this and I've been here. People get to see my existence through what I've worked.
Yeah. And plus, I also have that country boy mentality. I mean, my dad was in the Marines, and, you know, we all went shooting, hunting, and that whole life.
The good old...
So I guess you can say it's almost genetic that you want to do these things. Just because you had to out there.
And when I asked that question, I was also more referring to kinesthetic, but that also works as well, where you have to learn the cut of the trade and such.
Well, when you're learning the cut of the trade, you're looking at, you know, your grandfather, and you see him dressed in his flannel with his, you know, shit kickers on, you know, out there grinding away. And you're like, that's a cool look. I want to be like that.
Yeah, the inspiration also really helps. Philip, do you have a good question to throw in the pot, to throw in the fire to keep it burned?
Well, I have a bunch of questions here. I'm trying to figure out which one would be best to follow up the dad question. And I think I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So, Squilliam, you said earlier, not earlier in the podcast, just earlier in real life, spoilers, that you are a cook, that you like to cook food. And as it turns out, our other William here likes to cook food and prepare it.
Yes.
So I would like to ask both of you, what's the worst food you've ever eaten?
Salmon eggs.
And why salmon eggs? Like, and
They're
when did you eat
gross.
them?
They were a dish prepared in a full platter. There's calamari, salmon eggs, whatever you want to call those tiny little, caviar. I was like, oh, all this other stuff's good. I'm going to try to use salmon eggs because I thought it would be like salty and fishy. What I got was a slimy, disgusting mess of, like, it tasted like gravel plus, like, you know that canned slime that you play as with a kid sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tasted like what that smells like. Never again.
That's the bottom of the shit bin. What about you, William?
All right, so I make ramen, right? I make a lot of ramen. And sometimes when you go through patches and you're experimenting, it just doesn't work out. So I want you to imagine, if you can, these ingredients. For a while, I like to cook with, like, green onions, you know, scallions, just your generic ramen pack. And then, let's see, broccoli a little bit sometimes, and then carrots. And that was what I ran with for a while. And then I would throw some paprika spice in there.
But what about the rest of it?
What about the rest of it? Oh, the rest of it. Well, turns out... No. Turns out, one day, while I was making my daily ramen, not my daily ramen, but, like, my occasional ramen bowl of, like, carrots, you know, broccoli, green onions, paprika, I go to the spice rack, right? And I grab one of the red brownish spices, and it turns out when I puff it in there, I didn't actually grab paprika. I grabbed the spice for brown sugar. Brown sugar cinnamon.
Nice.
So I got this bowl. Yes, this bowl of brown sugar, broccoli, carrot, green onion ramen, and I said to myself, "Well, you eat your failures." So I ate it, and it tasted like a freaking sour cookie with, like, vegetables. It was the worst thing.
Nice.
I'm sitting there like, oh, yep, this is food.
I'm gonna feed that to my kid when he's bad.
Oh yeah. Screw salmon eggs. You get fucking brown sugar.
Dude, brown sugar on salmon eggs.
Oh god.
Oh no.
I can feel it in my soul.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna pretend to give him milk. It'll be like a salmon egg smoothie.
Oh man. Okay, Philip, what's your least favorite food?
Well, I'm a picky eater, so it's an easy question to answer. I really don't like baked beans. I really don't like cheesy potatoes. and I really don't like chili. So those three
Oh.
things, when I eat them, like I'm a picky eater, which means I don't like a fair amount of food. That when I try it, I just don't like it. One time, Squilliam and I went out to get sushi, and I thought, well, maybe I'll like it. I didn't. The best thing there was the herbal green tea. But, it was interesting to try, and they definitely had interesting tastes. I'm definitely an American sheltered taste bud kid for whatever reason.
I mean, that's
But
fine.
anyhow, if I eat those three things that I listed, I gag. I don't just not like them. My body rejects them. And it's like, oh, it's time to go to the bathroom, buddy. So
Oh,
I
that's
also hate
interesting.
beans so much.
I don't like the gag reflex. I've kind of gotten better about it over the years, especially when like going to the dentist and stuff like that. It used to be a big problem. But those three foods still, I never again, like Swill said.
Absolutely.
Yes, they really suck.
Dude, salmon eggs
Okay.
do suck. I'm sorry, British
Squil-
people, but God.
I'm sorry, salmon. If there's any salmon watching this podcast, listening to it.
Now, pickled eel is actually pretty good.
Can we talk about like pickled eggs? Actually,
Pickled eggs
Those
are
are great.
also really good.
I love pickled eggs so much. If I could have another pickled egg right now, I would.
Especially if you get a hot and spicy kind.
Oh, ooh, ooh! I'm hungry.
Have you guys ever had like fried pickle chips?
Yes. We make them at
Those
our
are-
work.
No.
Those are really good. I love fried pickles.
Having fried pickled chips reminds me visually of a fried jalapeno.
That's
and
because
those are also nice.
they look very similar when they're fried, don't they?
Oh my god, I want food. I hate how much I love it.
Yeah. And I hate how
There's
much
noth-
I can't cook it right now.
Yeah, because you can't leave. It's really like a stir crazy environment where like you just gotta do stuff, I guess.
I mean, I
And-
walk. I still go outside. I don't even wear a mask because I don't give a fuck. I just wash
What?
my hands.
Neither do I.
But it's just like I walk. But what sucks is like places like my job, they're only sit down. There's no carry out. There's no drive through. And we take a huge hit during all of this. All of
bet.
us do. Even our boss, like Big Boss, the guy that owns the fucking store, he takes even a huge hit because no one is making sales. All the food that we just had for that day when the quarantine happened or the shutdown, we had to throw the entire freezer away. Absolutely all of it.
That sucks. That's
So
so
just-
much waste.
I did some head chef work, and I can estimate about. I'm also not going to say where I work just to keep my coworkers safe and all that.
Mhm.
I estimated about 15 grand's worth of just common supplies gone, not used, thrown away. 15K.
And no one gets to eat it.
Well, yeah, because in the restaurant business, once it's handled, it has to be cooked that day. If not, you throw it away.
Yeah.
Now, there are places out there that will take on food, but you have to prepare it all. But with the shutdown, we can't do that.
Right.
Like legally, we can't turn on the fryers or the grill at all. Because you're risking exposure to your coworkers and also the food because you're handling it.
That's crazy. My work isn't like that. We can use the fryers. You work in a different county though, so maybe that's why.
Anyway, it's really rough here in America. It's kind of hard to not talk
we
about
have
the
it
virus
better
right
off
now.
than most states. I mean, countries.
Yeah.
Like island nation countries are very, like, not in a good state right now.
I wouldn't want to be South Korea.
Plus, we have all this technology to scream about online, so everyone knows what's going on. Let me tell you.
And I actually like the fact that everyone now knows everything's happening. But it also sucks because people will panic and buy up 50 rolls of toilet paper. You don't need 50 rolls of toilet paper.
It's still out. It's still out, by the way.
It's going to be out for a while.
Well, William and I talked
that it's in, people are going to mass buy it again.
William and I talked on an earlier podcast about how I brought this up, how because we live in the age of information, it makes it so we all have better communication, right? We're all better in touch. But as a result, when something like the coronavirus happened, like if it happened 50 years ago, for example, like we would not have gotten nearly as bad of a reaction. You know, you would have gotten a newspaper about it. You would have gotten a radio broadcast about it, maybe. And, you know, maybe it appeared on TV, maybe, but probably not. And people wouldn't have even given it notice until it came to America. And even then, most states probably wouldn't have cared. So I just think it's really sad that we had to blow. We're just so like globally obsessed with all news that happens all the time, anytime, that we just sort of screw ourselves over and mass panic over nothing.
Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, we quite literally do have world police mentality when it comes to news and articles. Like we like to, as the U.S. likes to jump the gun a lot.
And I know it's because of the U.S.'s foreign policy, and it's probably a huge influence on how its citizens act. But it's just, you know, technology has not made it any better, in my opinion. That problem. Technology sure has made communication and information and stuff like that, the accessibility easier, and that's good. But like, it's made that sort of information obsession has just been worsened. People react to all these kinds of things for no reason.
Yeah.
Especially since everyone also can post whatever they want. So there's like, I feel like nowadays we'll have to teach our next generations the importance of credibility.
William, our parents tried to teach us that to us, and we still make the same mistake. That's how scary the internet is.
You want to hear something funny? I mean, it's a meme, so I'm going to quote it.
Okay.
I can't quote the source, but it's a meme. People will already know about it. But it's that one meme. It's like, when you tell your kids not to get in cars with strangers, now your kids are getting in cars with strangers from a phone app.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's why it was like, when the first time we actually did use Uber, or at least I used Uber, I was like really, really skeptical.
Well, it's the equivalent of like taking a taxi, except anybody can drive this taxi. That's what makes it really weird.
Yeah, they're not certified.
Exactly. They're just some dude.
Which made the taxi union and what all of that like go in an uproar.
I wonder how they're doing right now.
Probably
like, are they
same.
suffering? I assume that people, you know, areas that actually rely on taxis, like it didn't affect them all. They're like, oh, ha, Uber, that's funny. And they stick their thumb out.
Yeah.
So I just think the whole thing's weird.
But you guys got any more questions?
I do. I was actually going to ask if you had a question because me and Philip threw some balls in there.
Yeah, I got a ton. I can blow through them at any time.
Might as well.
Well,
let the hosts get through, and then we can get it around.
Okay.
William, you want to go?
Sure. This one is a different shift. So initially, my question read as, "What inspires you to create art?" But I'm very tempted to say, "What inspires you to art?"
To art.
Yes, to art.
Just art.
Yeah, to art.
Well, William, because anything's to art, because art is up to interpretation. So,
like, what inspires me?
That's like asking what's our will to live.
Yeah, but so have our answers, because they're also up to perception. So, like, how we answer our questions are dependent on what our background is like and what we have done. So, it's just kind of like, well, just do it, and that's the perception.
So I'm guessing you want the literal sense of art, because what I do for a living, I don't consider art for myself. You know, to some people, architecture is art, but to me, it's just another building. But I like to draw. I used to draw a lot when I was younger. I kind of stopped drawing, and now I'm getting back into it again. Um, some people draw when they're like really happy. I draw when I'm like severely depressed because I feel like I just can put my most raw emotions into my drawing.
Hmm.
And you
They're
see
really
how I
good, by the
draw.
way.
It's very not symmetrical and it's all pin work. It's no, clean lines. It's always dirty lines.
And it's all sharp too. It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
There's like one specific one where like a waterfall is going through a man and it's going through his like heart, and the water is going like he's trying to hold up the water with one of his hands, but it's still going through.
Yeah.
That one's like my personal favorite doodle.
Because I feel like I do the same thing when I write music. I just put all my raw emotion out then and there. Because you know how dudes have that mentality of we're not allowed to show our emotions,
Mm-hmm.
especially centered in like a militaristic family. I know all military families were raised different than mine. Like, we all had different mothers, fathers, and how they want to raise their kids. But mine was very, like, the boy of the family, you have to be the rock. No crying. You get up when you fall, you wipe it off, and you have to keep moving forward for your family. You're not allowed to get depressed because you have to worry about other people but yourself. And now as a young adult, I struggle with that. I struggled like that in high school too. Like I had explosive anger issues just because I kept bottlenecking everything. So now I'm like slowly releasing that, and I feel like art or any type of art, drawing, music, building something, even if it's a cabinet, it'll be a very angry cabinet if I do it. But
why isn't there enough wood for this cabinet?
I
join
just
me
imagine
on
the
a job
cabinet has an
site.
angry face.
Yeah, don't join me on a job site. It's full foobar.
Oh, I that's why I let him run.
And then I'll have like, show like I have a vision. And I fucking calm down and I get to work.
And then I help him. I'm like, yes, he's doing it. He's doing it.
But I feel like art to me is a way to digress from bottlenecking all of my emotions in the day. And like being a young adult and having loved ones that I know die almost in the same year. I had two uncles and aunt, my grandpa and my brother all die in the same year.
Oh my god.
And it very much emotionally wrecked me and my family. And like art was just like the one thing that kept me sane because I had that mentality. I have to be a rock for my family. I'm not allowed to cry. I had to stand there and be strong, kind of a thing. So I didn't cry at the funeral, but once I came home, I fucking like bawled my eyes out.
I'm sorry, man.
And then like I have to come to terms to like, all right, time to go face my family like a rock,
Mm.
But that's what art, the beautiful thing about art and its interpretation is what you put into it can change the outcome of what you see.
I'm sorry, man. That's really sucky. I knew about your brother thing, but I didn't know the aunts and uncles.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an emotional roller coaster that I'm already dealt with and okay with.
The only time recently when I had to deal with like a funeral is when my great grandparents died, and they were like very beloved people. Like we would go see them every like holiday and such. They were very like social and popular. So when they died, I got the whole family kind of came together, and it was kind of a melancholic moment where we were all happy to be there, but also very sad to be there.
Yeah, that's hard to deal with. My family hasn't really had to deal with it very much. I've actually been to church more times for funerals than for any other uh thing, I guess, at a church. Like I think I was at a couple weddings. Nah, okay, maybe that's not necessarily true, but
Another
whenever
weird thing about I will never step foot in a church.
why is that?
Uh, just a personal thing.
Oh, really? You don't
Yeah.
want to step foot in a church?
Like, I will if I have to. But I'm not going to like it.
Well, given, your life background, I could totally understand. And I think anybody else could if you just gave them a synopsis.
And yeah, like a short, watered down version is when you were an outsider to like the Bible Belt area and nothing on the people. I just feel like that's how they're raised. They don't know any different. But like once you go to like the Bible Belt areas and you go to a very small town, like where I went to, when my dad retired, he bought 250 acres of land out in like the middle of nowhere. The nearest town was 2 hours away.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It was fun. It was surreal. It's like being one with nature, but there's a small church that the community goes to every day, which I don't, because I just don't like churches. Not that I'm anti-religious, it's just not my thing.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
because I didn't go, I was shunned in the community. I was like called many things. And like everyone thought I was either gay, the devil, or a Satan worshiper.
Jesus, you got chastised that hard?
Oh yeah, the dead South is the dead South.
That's terrible, man.
Oh yeah, man. But like not all of them are like that. Like there's this old lady that lived near us and she was great. I would go and help out on her farm all the time. And she was just a sweet person. It's just everyone else in the town, just because of that church cult mentality. Because they're already set in their ways. And so if a newcomer comes and they're like actively not trying to be part of your community, you want to know what's wrong with them, but you don't want to ask them. And so your leader that you go to all the time, you ask him what's up. Like he has never seen this person or wants to talk to this person. So his assumptions are what he thinks. And what it must be is he's against the church, right? So it just becomes a spiral effect. So I don't mean any of those people harm at all. And frankly, through all I've been through, I didn't really give a fuck either. I did have fun though. I get to shoot guns all the time outside.
It's kind of ironic that you say you don't mean harm to those people when they clearly meant harm to you.
Well, not physical harm, just like verbal harm. They never threw things at me. They never like physically assaulted me.
They did throw shade though.
They did throw some hard shade until they needed like a water line fixed or their house rebuilt, and then let's go call Will and his grandfather over to fix it. Which we did. So a couple people slowly began to be like, oh, he just doesn't want to go to church. But most of the town didn't like me. So that's why I moved to Greenfield and met you guys.
And we're just a bunch of nerds.
Yeah,
we're all green.
Games. And know things.
We don't know much, but what we know a lot about. Because there's nothing to do here but bowl and eat.
And corn.
There's
Corn.
things to do. You could drive and go to Indianapolis or go north and visit Pendleton.
You can do that anywhere, William.
You can whip your Jeep in downtown in front of a cop. And the cop just shakes his head at you. It's a great time.
It's true. Go kick up some asphalt next to a cop. Why not?
Philip, what inspires you to art?
Well, after talking about Squilliam's life for about 19 minutes, I'm not really sure what to say.
It was pretty incredible, honestly. I'm like, I got to visually see that in my brain.
Yeah. So, my background is actually that I used to do art, and now I kind of don't. I want to get back into it. I want to make YouTube videos. I want to learn how to drum and play music. That way I can like write songs, play songs, play in a band or something like that. I very clearly want to create. In fact, I think about it all the time how, I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that create, and here I am just kind of doing my own thing. Because I used to draw all the time. I used to write little stories, and I used to build with toys. I used to play with toys, but my favorite toys were Bionicles and Legos because you could create stuff. You could create different stuff.
Hell yeah, brother.
Not only was Bionicle interesting because, there was like the whole storyline to it that made my little 10-year-old brain very interested in it, but also I just love to take Bionicles and Legos apart and put them together and make a thing and then show my parents, and they could be like, that's cool. And I'd be like, yeah, this is his name and this is what he does. And then the next day I do the exact same thing, but I would do it with something completely different. I'd take that thing apart, use a bunch of different parts and make a new thing, and I'd be proud of it. At one point, I started taking pictures of all my little Bionicle creations, but eventually I kind of lost interest in that because once you have like 100 pictures of different Bionicles, they start to blur together and you're like, I don't really need these. And I also just used to draw whenever, from like elementary to, I want to say, junior high school. I drew stick figures all the time, doing all different kinds of things. I drew stick figures and I drew robots. And I drew so many different stick figures and robots. If I had to compile them, I could make a book out of them easily. Not that they're terribly impressive or that there's anything terribly artistic, although I was pretty impressed with some of the stuff that I was able to do, as like a middle schooler or whatever. But yeah, I love to draw and I'd love to imagine, and I've always been very imaginative. I remember every time I would sit on the bus, I would look out the window. I love windows, especially when you are in a moving vehicle, because I would always imagine myself running alongside the bus, running alongside my window, just doing parkour and just like doing cool shit, just grinding on the power lines and jumping off of trees. It was just so fun to imagine that stuff. Basically, I don't know if Jet Set Radio, I really liked it when I got an Xbox because I did that already, or if that inspired me to do it more. But either way, I was totally into that kind of stuff. And
it reminds me.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Because it reminds me. I know one of your favorite things back in the day is that when I would walk home, and when I invite you over to hang out, because my house would be like right near the school, I would show you. I'd be like, "Hey, Philip, look, see that telephone pole? That's a grind rail. Those fences are grind rails. That curb is a grind rail. You would be able to jump between the trees and such." And you were completely enamored by all the details of world building I'd be able to do. And that's something I like to do when I create art, is world building and lore and caricature. So that's why I have a bunch of title cards and a bunch of like backgrounds that are just mostly about the actual background and not about the subject, or concept. So instead of just saying just subscribe or whatever, here are my links, I drew like an island. I needed that. I cut you off there, so go on, just so you can throw it back in. Sorry.
That's cool. I think that's a really good place to drop that information. It's a really good way to transition. But basically, I started getting hobbies that where rather than them allowing creation, they were basically like huge amounts of things that were already created. Fantasy worlds, kind of like Bionicle, but you couldn't, like, I got into card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, and you can't build things out of cards aside from decks. But even then, it's basically just a combination of different archetypes and characters and stuff that are sort of woven into the cards. So it's less of you trying to make a story and more of you trying to tell what story is being told. And then I got into, video games. And again, it's mostly the game tells you a story rather than you make the story. There are definitely sandbox games out there now, like people are all about the RPG makers and the games like Minecraft or Roblox where you can literally design your own thing. But, that just didn't exist back then, or at least it wasn't popularized and streamlined yet. So I got to play my Zeldas and my Mega Mans and whatever, and I got to let the screen tell me what was going on rather than me imagining it. And I would go to sleep, not going to lie. And I loved fantasizing about video games and all these fantasy worlds and me just exploring them and having fun with all the characters and stuff and, fawning over the female characters that I liked or whatever. But I basically continued like that. I would get into a new hobby like Rubik's Cubes. And again, it was, other people were doing it, not me. And even when I did do it, it's not like I could create much out of it. And I liked... Now I listen to music a lot, and now I hang around people a lot more, and I do, create stuff like this podcast or whatever. But I've never felt like I was I think that I'm imaginative, but I don't know if I'm creative, if that makes sense. I can definitely forge an idea. I can definitely make it come to fruition, and I can definitely use my imagination and my creativity to do things. I love solving puzzles with this sort of approach, but I don't draw, I don't make art, I don't write songs. I just kind of collect stuff at this point, and I appreciate what other people do, and I think that's okay.
Yeah, that's a form of art.
I suppose so.
That is a form of
I
art,
have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I have a lot of Bionicles. I have a lot of Rubik's Cubes. I have a lot of music. And I have a fair amount, not that many, video games. But I think what's most important is I have a lot of memories, and I have a lot of friends. And, I can share all these things with them.
I'll go cry.
You can cry.
Oh, this is stuff that makes me cry.
Right feels there, baby.
Right in the feels.
I'm just saying, that hits me in the feelings.
Oh, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
And I'm saying it funny, so it's not as dramatic.
William saying something through a funny voice while crying.
It's fine, it's a funny joke.
You get into the subject of why I wear the TV head. Because it's like the facade.
Yeah, it's interesting. I watched a lecture of character design a little while back, and one of them was for a Knight Rider character that they designed, that they basically just had him wear a mask because they didn't want their face to be shown. They want to put on the facade.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. I didn't know I was even intentionally doing that too, but eventually I just wrote it into mine, where the visual of it is that he looks human, but he is not. He is a beast within.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
It's characterizing yourself into another object, which is a form of art.
It's very good. It's very fun.
I remember Bungie, or was it 343 Industries? I think it was Bungie. One of the things that they said about Halo's design that I thought was most interesting about it was they said they gave Master Chief a helmet because they wanted the player to feel like they were Master Chief. Like, they didn't want to show the face because they wanted to be like, that's you under there.
Yeah.
He may have a gruff voice, but yeah, you're the badass. And I always thought that was cool. And I think it's interesting that you can make a character I feel like the two really cool approaches to making characters that people can connect with is either a character that they can see themselves as, or a character that they're just like, this is the coolest character ever created, and I wish I was this guy.
Unfortunately, I kind of take up the latter one.
I mean, I feel like Daft Punk have, which you've taken heavy inspiration from, they kind of stride the middle line, where it's like, if you watch their videos, their music videos, and their, physical appearances, and like all of it together, they are both guys in helmets and also robots. So like, they are at the same time the cool guy that you want to be, and also you can envision yourself being under their helmet. And also they're just a cool guy under a helmet, period. So I think it's pretty neat. Not many people can do that.
It is a neat concept.
I want to get into cosplay so bad because I want to make a bunch of cool Knight Rider costumes.
That's what I first got into, was cosplay, and then I didn't. Because I realized how much money it is.
I remember Squil once said he was going to build me a Zant helmet.
Oh my god, that took so much time.
Not only that, but he actually said, I'm going to throw in a cool Rubik's Cube, and I never got that either.
Yep. Welcome to your helmet broke halfway through, and I said, I'm not fucking finishing it.
Well, at least you tried.
Yeah. I tried to make a cast, and then make it, like, metal, because of the reference pictures I was looking at. It looked like it was, like, either mosaic or it was metal. I was like, oh, let's make it metal.
Dude, that's metal. Cool. That's awesome.
And
was it going to be, like, shiny?
Yeah. And then it broke, and I was like, fuck.
And now it's just depression.
Now it's just depression. Oh, also, Philip, I think you already have the cool Rubik's Cube.
That's fair.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's like this one fan art that I really like of just a Rubik's Cube man. It is like his geometrical like dog. And I just like the Rubik's Cube head because that's just Phil. I look at that picture, I'm like, that's Phil. He is the puzzle master. Eddie wears the cube head.
I'm just a cursed TV.
He's a TV. You look inside of him and you see sadness.
We both have square heads.
See whatever you want to see.
You guys both have like digital screens.
See, mine's static though, and I just have glasses because I got a dad up.
And then I have the LED screen. See, Philip, with you, I could just put like LEDs on each side of the cube.
No, really you can't make the cube digital. It has to be physical because I'm kinesthetic, remember? I have to be able to move my face.
Oh,
that'd be a cool superpower because that means you could put an eye on the back of your head.
No, like he just solves
I'm not a mom.
No, it's like you could put eyes anywhere on your face or like your nose or your ears. You swap it around.
That I actually wouldn't like that superpower. I think it'd be uncomfortable.
It'd be very uncomfortable.
That would just be Mr. Potato Head at that point. That's not much of a power. That's a toy.
No, it's a power. You could use it for mostly just sight or like hearing, just to enhance your other senses.
I can't wait for the shitty season 6 My Hero Academia quirk. So fun. Can't wait.
Face swap. That
would actually be cool. I guess that girl, what's her name, Toga? She already kind of does that though. So
yeah, she's
but her shtick is that she truly, when she's in that character, she like as that person, she truly believes she is that person.
That's fair.
That's like her whole shtick when she transforms. Also, you guys should read the manga. She gets her own arc. It's really good.
I can't wait. Read the manga.
The thing is, William and I have so much time to like already do things that we want to do, or like we don't have time to do these things. Like we literally have no choice but to like wait for the anime to come out. William can't. William probably can't even afford to buy the manga, and I probably can't either.
Just read it.
I would just pirate it. Yeah.
Just go to the store and read it and just walk out.
I used to walk into comic book shops and sit there and read the comics and then leave.
That's fair.
It's a library.
The thing is, I love buying and collecting stuff. Like, that's just a thing that I do. So, I can't really...
I mean, I collect Gundams. I understand.
I don't like doing that. You know, when you walk in, you're like, you see a Gundam, and like, in your mind, you're like, I have to have that. You can't leave without it.
Yeah.
Like, if you can afford to and, like, not make too many people mad, including yourself. Like, basically, if you can do it with little consequence, why wouldn't you?
Ugh.
Ugh. We all feeling okay right now?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm kind of tired, but I'm still feeling pretty good. I think this podcast is actually the highlight of my day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got an 8-second Rubik's Cube solve, and that was pretty cool. But the other 99 solves I did were kind of so it's okay.
Oh.
I would just kind of like I've noticed I gotten tired like midday, and then last night at 12 a.m. I was freaking hyper. I'm like, why is it like this?
William's circadian rhythm got thrown off. You can blame Benjamin Franklin. Daylight savings, my guy.
I didn't even sleep that well at all. I had a night terror and I woke up and couldn't go back to bed.
Yeah, you cocked your gun for like a good
I didn't cock it.
hour.
I broke down my gun and put it back together about like 10 times.
They say the fastest way to get shot is to fail to clean your weapon.
Yep.
And then we had a flock draw session where I forgot to record my audio, so it's practically worthless.
Nice.
So I'm probably gonna throw it in the background of this episode.
No, that's an idea.
Shoutouts to Omega Alter, by the way, and Shulk Sansa for their contributes to the footage if I use it, which I probably will now because I mentioned it. But shoutouts to them. I will hopefully remember to link them in the description for this part of the episode.
Yeah, we had a fun time.
Yeah, it was really fun. He drew Android 21, and then I had to redraw my character 3 times.
Drew Android 21.
Oh, Ben draw Omega Ultra draw Android 21 like, and I had to draw my character 3 times. So just like the bottom left, I'm just like, I have depression. And it's really cool because Squil actually drew my character really well, and I was very impressed. I was like, wow, that looks so cool. Which is great because I drew his character and he was like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So we had an art trade.
And then we did Pokemon by memory.
Oh, yeah. And then we did it within 10 minutes or whatever. It was a fun time.
Oh, yeah.
Later tonight, this is like kind of just pre-production. Actually, production behind the scenes. You get to hear that. Later tonight, I'm thinking about doing a Smash stream. So I'll see about getting that set up, but that'll be fun. And then that'll be with like Andrew, who runs our local. Let's see. Do we want to do another round of questions? I have like one topic I could think of off the top of my head.
You can fire it.
Okay, we're gonna fire it. When you think about your time spent productively and creatively, do you ever notice that your creative output gets depleted in something that you don't want it to be depleted in?
Like changing what you're doing?
Well, let's say, okay, so I guess I'll explain it with my example. I played a lot of Minecraft at the beginning of this year. I was really mad because I didn't do much productive things. I felt like I could have spent that creative energy doing something more productive that I could sell. Like, when I'm doing this YouTube stuff, I feel like I'm being more productive because I'm working and I'm advertising myself. But sometimes when I'm playing video games and I'm being creative, I don't feel like I'm being productive per se.
I notice it's not like being productive, creative, but like every time I go out to smoke, it's either like 5 or 6 minutes, but that's like 5 or 6 minutes I could be working on something.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of feels like wasted time.
Plus the lung cancer.
I mean, I already have the scarring of the lung, so I'm already fucked. Or I shouldn't say that word. Also, yeah, it's my favorite word. But
Wow, I think we went through almost an entire podcast without cursing all that much. That's actually pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like last episode. I'm pretty sure we cursed a lot.
yeah.
That was a fun episode.
It was.
So basically, I cough 24/7 now because of my scarred lung tissue.
Oh.
So I just like to cough and look at people say Corona under my breath.
You should wear a face mask and then cough and then look at them in the eyes and then take off your face mask to reveal a smaller face mask and then cough again.
I keep doing it,
Yeah.
but aggressively each time.
Reveal it to eventually get down to a face mask that is it's not even big enough to cover your lips. It's just on your lips.
Yeah.
Like cough and swallow the face mask.
Just
like candy.
Like a vacuum. Breathe.
Phil, do you have any other questions you would like to ask?
Oh,
I mean, actually, let's finish this topic about productivity and creativity. And
oh, right. So the closest thing that I've come to creating that is original lately actually was music playlists. For a while I was making those, and what I mean by that is basically songs some songs transition into other songs. So usually a song will just fade out into silence, or it will at some point just kind of stop and be silent, right? And then the next track starts, and then, it has its beginning or whatever, and then, the next track starts or whatever. But some songs, like two songs will be sort of linked, like one song will transition into the other, and that's called a segue. And it's pretty popular in old music, and I mean, it's still used today. It's not common, I would say, but it's not uncommon.
We do it
either.
a lot in metal.
Do they do it a lot in metal?
Yeah, some metal bands do it a lot. Like Mastodon, it's a story by album.
That's cool. Yeah, conceptual albums are a great example. When an album or a group of songs is like about something, usually they'll group the songs into suites, where like all the songs are like usually like tracked separately, but like they all form like one cohesive story or something like that. Well, I attempted to do that with various songs by different artists, and I wanted to make it so that when one song transitions into another song, that it sounds good, and B, I wanted it to make sense. So it was very hard because I had to find, let's say I wanted to use one song, like song A. I'm like, okay, this song, it's cool and all. Now I want it to transition into a song B. This song B can be anything as long as A, I can make it make sense in the narrative, and B, it sounds like it should come after song A. Or at least I can make it sound like it comes after song A. And you repeat that, and I did it in groups of 7 songs. So like song 1 transitions into song 2, transitions into song 3, transitions into song 4, all the way to song 7, and then that fades out. So it was like 7 song suites. And I believe I did 4 groups of these 7 songs to make this playlist called Sands of Time. Took a year of me working on and off of it. It was just a little project, and to be honest, I didn't even really finish it and was fully satisfied. I just kind of fucking gave up and finished it because, like, it's so hard to edit songs the way that I want to edit them. So, but it did kind of give me an ear for, like, song transitions. So, like, when I hear 2 songs in my head that sound like they'll go together, sometimes I'll try to edit them together and it works. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's really cool. They sound like they should be together. And also when I hear good song transitions on albums, when I'm just listening to music outright, then I can typically judge whether a transition is good or not, or, whether the style of transition is appropriate. Like, I have a better ear for song transitions, basically. And I always listen for them because I listen to my music loud and usually in headphones because I want to hear all the quiet stuff. I love dynamics in music.
Yeah.
So that did help me. But at the same time, there's so much time that I've spent making playlists and deleting them and making playlists and deleting them because
it never ends.
It never ends. Well, not only that, but when William makes a playlist, and when most people make playlists, they kind of just edit them ad nauseum. But for me, I want to make a playlist and I want to finish it. Like, I want it to have a start and an end, and I want there to be a theme. And I want there to be, maybe there's certain artists being used. Maybe I'm going for a certain sound. Maybe it's a combination of these things, whatever. I still do it to this day. Literally, I'll be in the bathroom. I'll be at work. I'll wake up. I'll be, traveling, I'll be driving, something like that. An idea will pop into my head. Ooh, this song and that song would go really well together. And then I think to myself, well, now I really want to think of a playlist for that. So I stick the songs together and they sit in a folder while I try to think of like 20 other songs. I spend more time doing that than I could be using to just fucking listen to music and enjoy it. So I kind of stopped doing that. I do still sometimes do it, but I only do it just for the sake of like, I wonder if this song and that song would go together. And if it does, I'm like, that's cool. And I move on with my life.
I mean, I feel like just because you love music so much, that's why you do it. Because you want to see how far you can take it. Yeah,
that's probably true. I was mostly inspired by William and I wanted to do something similar to what he did. Because to be completely honest, I'm a purist. I like listening to music by albums, and I like hearing music in their context, basically. I don't really like devoiding them into playlists unless there's a reason for it. And that's the thing about Williams' playlists is that, songs are in their places for a reason. This song goes before that song, and then there's this series of songs that belong together. And I liked that. So I tried to replicate it and put my own spin on it, and I did. And then I don't want to do it ever again.
Yeah.
It's also like kind of lately I've been just working in shuffles actually, just because I've been more super interested in the aesthetics of it all. Because nowadays I find it really hard to just constantly like listen to the same playlist in the same order anyway. So with stuff in shuffle, I feel like has more longevity. And that way I could dedicate it like a certain aesthetic or feeling to it.
See, I'm not
like what I want.
I'm the opposite of that. I have a shuffle playlist just because I hate shuffle. But if I make a playlist, I literally will have to sit. Same thing with albums from start to finish. I can't shuffle it in between.
Right. And I'm also the kind of person that when I there's two types of listening to music for me. There's either, I'm just going to put on a song or two or whatever so I can like shower or go on, drive to or from work or whatever, some shit like that. And then there's me actually wanting to listen to music. I find an album that I want to listen to, and I just sit at my desk or like I lay down or something like that, and I just close my eyes and I listen to it, start to finish, no interruptions. I love listening to music like that because I can, take in everything. And if the album sucks, I feel every 48 minutes of it or whatever. But if it's good, then and if it's mixed, like last night I listened to an Asia album called Aria. Not the best Asia album, but I will tell you, the song Summer is a great song, and John Payne's cheesy vocals they couldn't have even ruined it even if it tried. Like, it's just a good song, and it makes me want to listen to Aria again. And that's just kind of the power of, listening to music and doing nothing else. And I understand that, not everybody's going to want to do that because that takes fucking time and patience, and not everybody's into music like I am, but I will happily do that, and I really enjoy doing so.
I was like that for Primus. At the start, I didn't like Primus, but it took me like 4 or 5 listens to an album to be like, you know what, I really appreciate this band.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's something that I really want to get William to do is more... I really want him to I'm trying to get him to like listen to albums and stuff multiple times. Because he's kind of the idea of, I have so much music at my disposal. If it doesn't catch me on like the first listen or two, I'm just not going to run with it. And I'm more of the, club of the first time I listen to an album, it's probably going to pass me by because that's just how music is. So I need to listen to it multiple times.
I kind of tried not to hold that standard up like anymore. But the only the new problem is for me is just kind of throwing it on, because nowadays whenever I do throw on music, it's usually just like because whatever my shuffle playlists are on, they're really good now just because they work so well as shuffle. So like the idea of I just want something on the background that I really like and it reflects my mood. Now it really works now, and instead of finding time to find a different album, I've just been using like the same few playlists. The only super big problem after that point is that my phone doesn't have enough like storage for new albums, so I kind of just have the playlist that I have, and that means my time to actually listen to new albums is when I'm at my computer, and like when I'm not listening to Discord, like in the Jukebot. And luckily, actually, I've been able to listen to some new albums just from like Jukebot alone, from like Squil and Lee introducing some stuff, and it's really cool. I like it a lot because whenever I get to like hang out and just like work on stuff, whatever, I'm not even if I'm not playing video games with them, I get to hang out and listen to the music they're listening to, and it kind of feels like I'm back in art class again. Like it's like a like a construction shop like environment, like you're working on something and there's just like metal blaring on in the background.
I love me some metal.
Yeah, I still remember when me and Squilliam went to I brought my brother Adam along, and we had to clear out an entire garage. And we just blared metal. It was great. And there was a car in the background. Don't live on state roads, kids.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah, that's pretty metal. That he's out during a lockdown, just fucking flaring.
Yep, that's Adam.
There's stuff dying down here. Is that metal?
Yeah, that's pretty metal, dude.
Actually, that's pretty metal.
Actually, what that car is doing is pretty punk. I wouldn't say it's metal.
Metal would be like fire coming out of the exhaust 24/7.
Hey, while we're talking about music, or at least since we were, I want to throw in a quick music question.
Okay.
So, what
shoot.
songs or song or whatever, or tune, I guess, do you find yourself humming when there's no music on? Like you're doing the dishes, you're taking out the trash, you're going to work, you're in the bathroom, you're just doing something. And,
Black Girl.
By who?
I forget the original artist, and whoever's watching this is probably going to ostracize me. But it's either, or I'll listen to the same version, but Kurt Cobain did a version of Black Girl, and it's My Girl, and he switches up the lyrics and makes it his, and it's a lot more raw and emotional, and it just really hits home.
How does
I
the
know
song
I was
go?
quick on that, but it's just I always hum it. Or if I'm not humming that, and if I'm in a really good mood, I'll hum almost any Sammy Davis Jr. song while like hopping down the street, like straight dad vibes.
Oh, you know what? Actually, now that you mentioned hopping down the street vibes, I knew what I was gonna say. Originally, I was just gonna say anything like Alan Parsons, and like I have two modes, like when I'm sad, and when I'm happy. So I kind of just sing like a bunch of kind of meme music. Like sometimes when I'm really hyper, I'm like ring 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 banana phone, ring 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 banana phone. And then other times when I'm sad, I'm like I said, Alan Parsons. But Squilliam did mention something very cool, like when you're walking around, like when you're walking music is powerful music. That's hip hop. That's some not drum and bass, but some like a good house. So sometimes I'm singing Mr. Bobalina, Mr. Bob Domalina, Mr. Bobalina, Mr. Bob Domalina. Oh, everybody, Mr. Bob Domalina. Shit like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said Once in a Lifetime by the Talking Heads, but I feel like that gets stuck in everybody's head.
Once in a lifetime.
There is water underground.
I mean, it was just kind of buried. Like, we in the Libracadeum have buried that song into the ground.
It's true. It's like the water in the song. It's just in the ground now. Like, wherever you go, that song is just waiting for you.
As the days go by. It's only because we had a Minecraft session where it was just surrounded by water. So everyone started singing it after it got into an earworm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's kind of like why we can't play Skooks anymore, because we burned that too.
Oh, but that's
Yeah,
such
if
a
you play
good series.
Scoots, I'm
It's
gonna
so
get
unfair.
real mad. I can't listen to Scoots ever. Because every day, every hour on Discord, it's Skooks.
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 And I wish you hadn't.
Watch me swoosh right in. Swoosh. It's kind of like how we can't watch the ASDF movie anymore because we've grown so past it. We have osmosised all the jokes, and now that we've done it, we can memorize it by like head.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? We can do that with most songs and still love them, but not like movies or pop culture references, because it's just not funny anymore.
Once it spreads to a certain point and it's no longer personal, it's no longer fun. Which is why, like, some memes, some people describe it as cringe, because like once people get on, it goes. Once the meme has like sat out for a while, it becomes moldy and it attracts a lot of like bystanders that don't really add on to it.
I think that says something about art mediums. You know, how when people call things a classic, they typically refer to the fact that it will hold up over time and it's not going to degrade like that. Like, and I feel like that's why certain things like memes, when people describe them as art or somebody describes something as a classic meme, I just don't see it because nothing's really held up that long. Like, memes just kind of fall in and out of relevance like many pop culture references. And yeah, there's a fair amount of movies and stuff that they also do the same thing. But there are classic movies, and there are classic songs, and there are classic pieces of art that, like, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the line, we'll still appreciate because that's good art.
Shrek.
Shrek? Shrek is just a meme.
No,
it's funny
Shrek,
now.
I'm
Shrek
surprised
is
you
like
didn't say
survived a
Tron.
lot.
The original,
Legacy.
the original Tron.
Tron
The
Legacy.
original Tron is forgotten. I'm so sad.
Well, Tron Legacy is so good, but I feel like people could probably take it out, like, and take a shotgun to it and ruin it very terribly.
Tron Legacy has flaws. It's definitely not my favorite movie.
It's just
I love
the
it.
visual aesthetic that I get from the movie.
Yeah, it's a
so
good
good.
movie for, like, what they were going for, but, like, as a Tron movie, I don't know.
It's a big music video, honestly. Just because Daft Punk carries that whole film. I swear to God, it's so good. The visuals are also very good. I like those too. I don't really know about the acting or the actual plot, but
I didn't care about the plot at all. I just saw the neon aesthetics, and I was like, yes.
Yes.
I cared about the plot, and the movie was very disappointing. I'm very sad.
It's
There are-
one
like
movie series I'll watch and fight for.
What?
Godzilla. I should
Yeah,
say
you will.
something else. Toho Godzilla.
Toho Godzilla? What? Oh, okay.
The Japanese
Cousin,
Godzilla, not the newer American Godzilla is pretty good.
I remember
the
I was
latest
watching...
film was really good. But nothing holds up to OG.
like 1960s, I think.
Wasn't it 1950 something?
Yeah, 1950 actually sounds more right. I remember I was once in a movie theater watching I was about to watch a movie. We were watching the previews. One of them previews was for a Godzilla movie, and some guy in the back of the theater yells, "How can they remake a movie 10 times?"
Yeah, I would throw him out.
Well, I
He just
actually
threw some real salt.
do you remember Josiah Squilliam?
Yeah.
He was a big Godzilla fan, so I kind of learned about the Godzilla fandom, like cult following. The Godzilla following, I learned about it from him. I was like, there are Godzilla fans? He's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a whole cult, dude.
And he would
Yeah,
explain to me all
Dicker
different
T.
monsters and stuff, and I was like, I don't understand what any of this means. but
Just
it's
like
cool.
how I'm part of a music cult.
How are you part of a music cult? What's
There's
it
a band
called?
called Spite, and their whole thing is Spite Cult.
Oh, nice. I want to be a part of that one.
Okay, cool.
That easy?
I mean, you have to like very garage heavy metal, like
Never mind.
underground.
I'll pass.
But yeah,
The only like garage metal I know Philip knows is like Nocturne.
I wouldn't even call it garage metal. I'd call it garage rock. Metal's a lot harder, I feel.
Yeah.
A lot darker.
Speaking of which, I can't wait to record some SMT4 eventually once Corona blows through.
Lick slips.
Like, we're gonna-
Yes, SMT4.
Yep. We're gonna make like a whole series about that where we just go through Knight Rider Town and fight demons.
I can't wait to beat up all the PNGs.
It'll be so good. All these PNGs. Let's see, guys. Let's see, we're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. I'm out of topics. Anyone got some?
Okay,
Got
it's
some
time for the
wood.
lightning round. I've
Lightning
got
round.
questions. I'm going to fire them off, okay?
but
Okay.
All right. Question 1. Would you shoot the coronavirus with a coconut gun? William?
no.
Yes.
All right. Next question.
Coconut
Name
gun.
an anime, a manga, a book, a movie, or a game, video or otherwise, that you really want to try out, like right now. A piece of media that
Half-Life
you're like,
Alex.
Okay, you, William?
Shit.
Ooh, how about a stipulation? Because
Tatsuno-
I didn't think about games that are coming out. I feel like that's kind of obvious. So how about a game that's already out?
Half-Life
Half-Life Alex is already out, so like
Oh,
he
shit.
gets
All
his
right,
point.
fair enough. William?
I want to play Capcom versus Tatsunoko and Marvel versus Capcom 2, and also I want to play Capcom versus SMK 2.
He wants to play good fighting games.
I want to play Guilty Gear Rev. I want to play Guilty Gear Strive, Persona 5 The Royal. I want to play all of the damn SMT games that are on 3DS. If I had more time, what else would I fucking play? Jesus Christ.
You will play Jesus Christ.
I will play as Jesus Christ. There's this game.
You can now play as Luigi.
You can now play as Luigi. There's this game where I want to play. I actually want to play Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U one. Because I've heard that one's really good. I'm very interested.
The Wii U tablet on that fucking game. So Rooster Teeth did a playthrough where there were 5 people. Like, there's only 4 characters, but one person had the Wii U tablet, and he just he spawned platforms to, like, kill everybody. This was amazing.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, what were you saying?
Quickly, what is something that you want to get into? 3, 2, 1, go.
The Witness 2. You caught me off guard, I don't know.
Fucking you caught me off guard.
How about I really want to play Pokemon Shield, and Breath of the Wild. Both are games that I own. I just haven't gotten around. And but I want to play Animal Crossing first, so those will be on the back burner because Animal Crossing's cool. Okay, so we'll go to another thing. If you could choose one game for a sequel to be made for it, no matter how old or new it was, what would you pick?
A lot of games I play already have one.
Jet Set Radio Future 2.
So, Squilliam, you wouldn't want a sequel to any game you play?
I mean, they already have one.
There's nothing you want, huh?
Not really.
Alright, I want Mega Man 12. If you could have one game on an arcade cabinet at home that you own, it's your arcade cabinet. One game. What would it be?
Skullgirls.
No.
Okay.
Skullgirls would be a really good one. Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Or Metal Slug.
That'd be for Tekken. Yeah, Metal Slug too. I didn't even think about that.
Which Metal Slug?
Like all of them.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
The whole fucking thing.
7 arcade cabinets.
Could I get like SimCity on an arcade cabinet?
I was thinking, things that are actually on arcade cabinets. Like, if you go out and buy one right now, like, and somebody was like, "I'll pay for it, I'll cover it." Like, which one would you buy? Do you think? Would you buy a Guilty Gear arcade cabinet? Would you buy would you look for a Jet Set Radio cabinet if it existed? Like, what would you do?
Okay, I think I said Tatsunoko versus Capcom earlier.
Yeah, if
it ever existed.
I mean,
fucking Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2 and 3.
What did you say, Squil?
Raspberry Pis are a thing. You could just program your own cabinet.
That's true.
Yeah. I think I just want like a Skullgirls one. It would be awesome.
Dude, that would be real cool. Just imagine the cover. Imagine the art on the sides of them.
Yeah. You play Plot, the fighting game.
Well, I want Tetris. Tetris the Grandmaster 3 Terror Instinct, to be specific. Unless TGM 4 comes out.
You know what? I want the Mario Kart arcade cabinet.
Oh, the weird one that's not Dave and Buster's?
Yeah, I want that one.
Oh, if we're going to talk about stuff like that, I want the racing games.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take it. Dude,
William, the racing games.
You get the Mario
one? Oh, Daytona! We're completely snowballing on Daytona.
That's a good point.
Daytona! Racing games are like the pinnacle. That or be like, if either be a fighting game, it will honestly mostly be a racing game. Let's be real.
I don't even
fighting
like
games
racing
are more fun at home. I mean, you don't, but like honestly, you could play those multiplayer with 2 of them right next to each other, so you're both driving next to each other. True. Oh, they're so hype. They're so cool.
Aliens versus Marines cabinet. That one's fun too.
Oh yeah, like the ones where you shoot out people.
Yeah, you just shoot.
You shoot.
You shoot.
Remember? Did we play the Luigi's Mansion one? I remember I went and played the Luigi's Mansion.
I let you play it because I was like, William, I've never played Luigi's Mansion, and you were like, okay.
What? There's a first-person shooter Luigi's Mansion arcade cabinet.
It was actually weird. Pretty awesome.
It was really cool. It was based on Dark Moon, actually. Yeah. I'm like, wow, this exists?
Oh, me and Will did when we went to Dave Buster's to play the Mario Kart game.
That one's so fun.
I remember when I went with Dave and Buster's with my older sister Alex, we basically did 2 things, and it was that Mario Kart game and air hockey.
Oh, air
Like
hockey.
we played
Hell
like
yeah, I want air
20,
hockey.
100 games of air hockey, like so many.
No, Philip, we also played air hockey. Remember how like tense it got?
I love
and
that.
we're sweating. We literally did nothing but play air hockey.
It's so fucking good. I love air hockey. It's so fun.
If I could have an air hockey, I'm body blocking. I'm gonna block it. I'm gonna parry you. I'm gonna parry this puck. I'm gonna parry the puck out of the puck.
Teaching William how to play air hockey was fun. He got frustrated at first. He's like, "This is fucking bullshit," because I would get like 7 pucks in a row. But then he learned how to play, and like we went like 6-6, and like the next point wins like so many times.
Air hockey can get really aggressive.
Air hockey is the shit. I love it. I get an air
like
hockey
slapping that puck back and forth really hard trying to get in. You just dead eye your opponent, and you're like, "I will beat you."
Like somebody was like, you know, Pong is dead, and then they were like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
It's honestly, I'm like the same in Smash or like any fighting game where I'm like, I just struggle super bad. Like I freaking scream while running through the forest full of like barbed wire and
hero mains,
branches on the floor. Yeah, pyramanes and barbed wire and like tree limbs on the floor. I scream and run through there, but once I get through there, I'm like, oh, I understand it now.
And then you play Lil Mac, and then you get sick for 12 days.
I was there for 2 days. Yeah, he saw me like go down and sleep in the bed.
He wasn't sleeping, he wasn't blinking, he wasn't moving. All he was Lil Mac.
I kicked the shit out of like everyone there, and honestly, I've only gotten better with Little Mac just because I could learn how to stall better, like more. I've become top tier Little Mac.
I'm actually really bad against William's Little Mac because I'm aggressive, and Little Mac very well punishes aggressive playstyles. So almost every time I play against it, I just lose hardcore. And then I have you know, a good read, or like, you know, I throw out a good move or whatever, and you know, oh, I'm up 2 stocks, and he just fucking destroys me again. Like, I'm just so impatient and aggressive against Little Mac, and it's not okay.
Like, so the only Smash I played intensely and actually trained for was the DS version.
Yes.
And I remember we're all sitting in Cougar Connect, and I like trained hard for a week with like Kirby, right? I'm normally like really shit at, you know, fucking Super Smash Brothers. So I was like, hey, well, I want to fight. And Will goes, you never want to fight me. You always lose and you get mad. I'm like, don't worry about it. We're going to have fun. And he was like,
don't worry about it. That's like the most Squil phrase I've ever heard.
And like, I'm like, well, have fun. And he was like, yeah, okay, we'll have some fun. So
they did not have fun.
He was playing. I was acting like I normally act, right? Like, oh shit. And all of a sudden, I just turn. I just fucking go. And he puts the controller, like his DS down. He looks dead eyes at me and goes, are you fucking joking with me?
Did you hustle William?
He's like, are you joking with me? I was like, joking about what? He goes, you weren't that good yesterday. Are you fucking with us? I was like, no, I'm trading. It's fine.
You just fucking
it's
hustled
still
William.
My favorite day of high school. Are you fucking with me? You were so pissed.
I bet I was pissed. I mean, like, once I'm dethroned, I was the Smash 4 fucking champ for like a long while. Like, no one can take me. I would like swap mains every goddamn day. I played Rob for so long, and I played Ganon, and then I played Shulk, and then I played like Samus at the tail end of the 3DS days,
which pisses Nigel off so hard.
Oh my god, Nigel. Okay, so at the beginning of Smash 4, like very early, like 3DS key codes giving away. We got our key codes, right? Yeah. We're in the lunchroom. We're playing Smash, right? The only characters you could play are like Mario, Link, Mega Man. Who else? Who else was like the
Pikachu?
last one you could play as? Pikachu? Yeah, probably Pikachu. Anyway, so I was playing like Mario, right? And I learned the Mario up tilt bullshit that you learn early on. And I'm like, every time I would forward air specifically, I called that the slamblejam move because it's by the time you say slamblejam, it knocks them into the abyss. And unfortunately, now it's like forward aerial. It's like the ElfRad thing, but who cares? I called it the slamblejam. I'm still going to call it the slamblejam.
Squil named his Australian grenade launcher in
I gave
TF2,
it to him
the
I gave it to him specifically to name it the Slamblejam.
Yeah, and I named it. It is the Slamblejam. So now there was one day, picture this, we're sitting in like the corner 4 circular tables in the huge cafeteria. This is before like all the stupid like bullshit where one person ruins the system and everyone else can't enter the school early and shit. So we're in early before classes starts and everyone's getting in and shit. We're getting our breakfast. Some people are getting breakfast, but most of us are playing Smash in that corner with like those 3-4 tables dedicated strictly for the nerds. And I'm playing like Smash, right? And Nigel and some of our other friends are there, and I hit a slamblejam, like, oh yeah, get freaking slamblejammed, and then Nigel comes up, he slams the table, he's like, it's not a slamblejam!
I remember that. He was so mad.
I'm sorry, Nigel. We have to do you dirty, but it's one of the most memorable
I'm not.
things.
Get slamblejammed, Nigel.
Get slamblejammed,
It was so
Nigel.
funny. I loved it.
Oh, so good. Oh.
I can't wait to have Nigel on as a guest and be like, so, how do you feel about slamblejams? And he just fucking leaves.
He has
We
a
did have
Vietnam
him on a guest.
flashback.
He was the ham radio.
Yeah, we need to have him again, though.
Oh my god, what? Jesus
We
Christ.
can have, guests reappear.
You,
That's
you
not a
should
big
do
deal.
a full party. Like every guest that you had on your channel comes in.
It'll be so
I told
chaotic.
him, I was like, why don't we have 2 guests? He's like, that's too much. I was like, okay, whatever.
We
fine.
can just do what the Misfits do.
Have square wheels and wings on lions.
We'll call it the big room. We'll call it the big room gets invited, and then everyone has to sync up their Audacity.
Can't wait.
How the hell is that gonna work? Oh my god. I'm excited to think about that. I'll think about that. It'll be in my brain. I'll stew over it for a long while, and then I'll make an announcement like 3 days later that we're doing it. And then we'll do it like Monday or something. It'll be super chaotic and terrifying. Alright, did we run out of lightning round questions?
Last lightning round question.
Okay.
Favorite bird to kill?
Cool.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
My favorite
No.
bird is the
Favorite-
toucan.
Favorite bird can be a kind of bird, can also just be a specific bird that you can name. Like,
A
William, you
toucan.
could say Lester or whatever.
I love
Toucan. Why not one can?
Because some of my IDs I go by the Mighty Tuca.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh shit, I should have asked why the Mighty Toka. Okay, I'll ask that later. That'll be the last question. So I'm gonna say there are multiple different types of there are multiple birds. They're all very precious and but I like to watch cockatoos. They're so cute and so cuddly, and they love people. And the problem is that they just need attention constantly. I think I realized if I am gonna have another bird, it's gonna be like a small one, like a cockatiel or a bungee, because it's not like the commitment. It's more like I don't like big beaks. I don't like neediness. I just kind of like the perfect amount. Just sit on my shoulder, and then you occasionally take a shit, or like you scream at me, and I could like maybe pet your head and then hold you like an ice cream cone.
All right, I think that's the end of our lightning round.
Okay, my last question of the day. Where did the Mighty Toka come from?
So it all revolved around old Xbox names.
Oh yeah.
So like, I don't know if you guys remember it, but you guys remember when Xbox Live came out?
I don't think William had an Xbox, but I do, because I did have an Xbox.
Because it was like a huge thing, and like that's like people are gonna be like boomer, but like it is a boomer moment for me. It makes me feel old. Because I remember the day it dropped, that night, me and my brother made accounts. That's back before when it was free. When it was free. So we all made accounts. And my first account was MT Fan 44, which is one of those things I used to play as my Steam or whatever, just as a throwback to make me feel happy about those days. But so we would play Halo 2, and Halo 3 ODST when it came out. We used to go online and, play all the time. Well, my mom sold the Xbox and a whole bunch of stuff, so I never had access to that account. So when the Xbox 360 and stuff was super big and updated and has like a terabyte, whatever, mode, I got it. so I can play the new, Call of Duty Black Ops. It asked me to sign into my account. I can never remember that account. So I was like, I like toucan birds. So I started typing in mighty _ toucan, but I ran out of space because you have a certain letter number count. So it became the mighty Tuca. And so that's where that ID came from. So ever since high school, I was the mighty Tuca. And then shortly, going through my teens and in my young adulthood, I was usually the mighty Toka. But I slowly regained my, nickname as my name. And I like it a lot more. So that's why I go by Cursed Squil or Squil.
Fair.
That's good. All right. I like that. Okay. I think that's it. I think we've run through all the wood and we have to kill the fire now.
You gotta turn off the TV.
You gotta turn off the TV. Turn off my monitor. Turn me off. Thank you, everyone, for watching and participating. If you like what we do here, consider donating on Patreon so I can support my friends and also buy more material to continue making videos like this. I know it's hard in these pressing times to consider that, but it just helps me move on. Even $1 would help. But mostly before that, please also consider following my friends on whatever social media they provide. Squilliam, do you have any links you want to share for us right now before I eventually have to share it for the Goons episode? Ooh, spoiler.
No. I'm starting up a business, so it's going to take a while.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least you could show this around. This will be fun. Philip has been in the description. He also does YouTube stuff. He has a Twitter and such, so go check him out as well. Thank you, Squilliam, for coming on today.
You're welcome.
All right, this is the Libracadeum Lounge, and remember, everyone, fake hair
Everywhere.
everywhere.